Chain reactor spin fire. The NFT analyzer. Diving deep into projects. He's the crypto energizer. From remit coins to tokens. He's got all the intel. Web3 wizardry. He'll show you where to excel. He's got the inside.
All right, GMs, welcome to Chain Reactor. Jared, I caught you grooving to the song just for a second, but I caught you. Yeah, me too.
It gets me hyped up every Thursday, man. I'm just like, I've told you every single time. I'm like, it's dope. It hits perfectly.
Every week it grows on me more and more and more. I'm there. I love it. It's it's a banger. All right, guys. Thursday show. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. It's my favorite show of the week because we talk art and especially how art's been feeling lately. Perfect time to be talking about it with, man, a really really special guest today. It's Jared. Do you want to introduce DeltaSauce? I think it would be cool coming from you.
Yeah, DeltaSauce is one of my favorite artists in the space. I'm a little bit biased. I'm a full disclosure. I'm a collector of his work, and also we're partnered on the release. But Delta, to me, is one of the more up and coming artists for the AI space. He has an incredible eye, a natural knack for composition, and just an all around incredible sense of art. I still to this, we've been working on this project for 8 months, and to this day, I still can't pinpoint it. There's just something incredibly intuitive about the way he does it, but it's also his attention to detail and just straight up good guy that he is. It's just made me really come around and really value the friendship. But he's an incredible artist. You can see from his Twitter or X, he's got incredible engagement. He really looks out for his collectors. He takes all of it to heart. So there's when you start going down the list of like people you want to be associated with, like he checks every single box, and honestly, it makes me smile. Well, similar to like you and I just driving for an hour on Thursday, like we'll hop on a call and we'll talk business for 30 minutes, and then just all of a sudden 2 hours have gone by, and we're like, oh shit, like we got to figure something out, right?
Dude, I see it because we were before we went live, we were just we were shooting the shit a little bit, and dude, I can already tell. This is gonna be a really, really fun one because he's super cool. But DeltaSauce, man, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. I can't wait. I can't wait to chat with you and honestly get to meet you. This is our first time talking. But also for everybody watching, I think if people don't know you, I think this is the perfect opportunity to get to know you and your art and your journey. But man, welcome.
No, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here. And like, I love the vibes already. We had a little chat before the start of the space, and I'm just like, I'm happy to be here. So I'm happy to deep dive into my artistic career, like the beginning, middle, and end, and just be open to that narrative. So like, thank you for having me today.
Yep, my pleasure, man. What can we start with? Where's the name come from? DeltaSauce. What is it? What does it mean?
So back in my old trading days when trading stocks, I went by Duck Sauce on Discord, and like Duck Sauce is a band that I love. I absolutely enjoyed the music. So like I loved it, but like Duck Sauce was already taken here on Twitter. So I'm just like, okay, let's do some wordsmithing, smash some words together. So like Delta by C2C is a favorite song of mine. So I just decided to take the song name, mix it with sauce, and that's how DeltaSauce came to be.
I love it. I can tell you're a degen, ain't you? Like a proper degen, but like in TradFi too.
Yes, I traded options for 10 years, and I traded weeklies, and on Fridays it would be trading daily. So I was looking for like the theta and the gamma, and just and the delta. Like a lot of people don't understand the Greeks when it comes to option trading. So like I really got deep and nitty gritty into that. And I did a lot of research. I own quite a bit of, books when it comes to trading options. And like, that's how I got into, finance as a whole. And then that led me to, finding crypto, and then, doing artwork and making NFTs. So.
Yeah. I don't know what any of that meant at the start, but, that's because I'm probably the biggest child here. You guys watching know that. But okay, let's get to I'd say let's get to art. Your journey as an artist. When did that start? I mean, artists are born with a thing. They're just born with a thing that makes you I think perceive and see the world different. So to some degree, I'd imagine your journey probably started from the moment you're born. But like, yeah, when did you actually start maybe creating, and what is it? Yeah, what is it you see in things that then you're now bringing to people through your creative process?
So when it comes to how I started art, my dad is a carpenter, so he did a lot of woodworking and furniture making, and he got me into that line of work. And I loved being very hands-on with things. I did a lot of furniture building with him, and he, took me under his wing, and I really got down to the nitty-gritty there. And it really progressed into like it's such a weird progression because like it's woodworking, and then when I went to school it was more of like getting involved in sculpting and pottery and clay making. I just liked working with my hands and being able to turn you know a raw piece of material into something different, and I found that very fascinating and very like I'm kind of a control freak in that manner, so I love the creative process when it comes to being able to have control over your environment or just control over a substance. So like that's where my deep love of art came from, was my dad. He instilled it into me, and he loved what he did. So like he always told me, find something you love doing, put 110% into it, and share that with the world, and you will find success. Like
So you always had like some kind of desire or like urge. You just had this inclination to create.
I would say yes, and also that love came about from, like, cinematography. I'm a big movie buff. I love film. Film was my way of escape, and I love seeing the love and care that people put in behind the scenes. When you go look at, like, Ghostbusters per se, you look at the behind the scenes footage and the model making and all of these cool special effect ideas, and, like, there's a lot of love and attention. Star Wars is another one, like, all the model making for the Death Star, I love getting to see the behind the scenes footage when it comes to older films, because there was a lot of, love in what they did in their craft, and they wanted to make a good movie. So like that's where a part of my love for art also came from.
Can I gotta ask, well, a favorite movie, just because as I start to learn people's like favorite movies, favorite artists, all that stuff, like kind of collections here in NFTs they like to collect, helps me understand. It just helps me understand, I guess, even your art. I just kind of know what inspires you. Yeah, what is your favorite movie?
I can't say favorite because it's always changing.
Nice.
You know how it is, but I can give you like the top three that I really love, and that would be Fight Club, Falling Down with Michael Douglas, and Nightcrawler. I feel like those three films kind of encapsulate my love specifically for lighting when it comes to my artwork, because I love to be able to capture a mood when you can set a film so deeply in a mood just by the way it's lit. I think you've captured something. And when I look at my artwork, I want to be able to capture an emotion like that. So like I look at those movies for inspiration because they've done such a good job when it comes to lighting.
You said you do photography. You ever do movies? Do you do short videos, anything like that?
I have not gotten into it. I've done photography in the past, and mainly my photography was a means for me to create images that I can collage together and do more abstract work. I really want to get back into taking photos because like there's a lot of things you can do with photos nowadays, especially with AI, that I think are fascinating, and I really want to deep dive into that. And funnily enough, like every time I travel from Texas to like NFTNYC or Miami or LA, I'll take a photo outside the plane. I'll be put my phone next to the window and just take a photo. And I'm thinking about making like a collection themed around that kind of those kind of views. I feel like that would be a cool collection. Like there's so many ideas and directions I want to take, and like there's never enough time in the day when it comes to it.
Yeah. Well, interesting too. I mean, given that I don't know if this is primarily your main form of creating now with AI, but we gotta circle back to this and talk about how AI is impacting. I think the art of cinematography and film, right? Like we just saw. I mean, probably 4 weeks ago or so, I saw a Toys R Us commercial that was completely AI generated and blew my mind. Like that was one of the first times I saw how, man, it really is going to replace jobs. Like it really, really is. But also it's giving people who don't have that technical ability. Like I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do stuff in, let's say, like Premiere Pro and After Effects, but I could probably prompt and start learning that. So it's interesting how that's going to change. I mean, literally everything. But yeah, I would love to hear, and again, we'll come back to this, I think, if that's going to get you back into film, but in a different way, kind of at the cutting edge of it at this point. I would love to hear about your journey, I guess, in NFTs. Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, when you got in NFTs, what era were you? Class of 21? Were you earlier than that? And kind of your time here in the space. Yeah, yeah.
I was late 2021. I was around September is when I start, learning the blockchain and minting, and like my first mints are on Polygon because back in the day I couldn't afford gas to mint on Ethereum, and so all of my early work is on Polygon, and that led me to move over to Tezos because Tezos was more affordable to mint on. So like a lot of that my other early works on Tezos, but like I found this space as a need to share my art and to build a community around my artwork and just to connect with people because like this was during the time of COVID and I was working my 9 to 5 at a grocery store, and like I didn't really have a network of people to communicate with or to build a community with or just have relationships with. So like this space offered it to me because like digital art really when I look at digital art, I don't think of like, the traditional way of digital art is like it's not on the blockchain. So there's not really a tight knit community for the digital art scene as a whole. But like when you start getting into the NFTs, we have this tight knit community. And that's one of the reasons why I've, stuck around for so long is because of this community. I love it. I love the support. I love how everyone has this, same kind of mindset. We want the blockchain to be successful. We want crypto to be successful. We want digital art on the blockchain to be successful. So we all have this similar mindset. And like that's what I love about this space.
Dude, I often like I tease a little bit about how casually we throw around the word community and we throw around we're building, and in to some degree we even throw around too casually we're here for the art. But actually all those things are true, and the community part is truthfully like the most special part of it, in my opinion. It is something that kind of binds us all, and we're all getting to experience this. I mean, geez, it is an art revolution that's happening here too, on top of a technical revolution, on top of so many other things. So I feel you there with the community side of this, especially. By the way, guys, I was chatting with DeltaSauce just before, and I let him know I didn't know he had minted over on Tezos, which you guys know I love. I mean, like to some degree obsessed with. But when I found his collection, I'm looking through it, and there's so many pieces I recognize from back then, because you guys know if you were there back on Tezos, you remember it was kind of all day. You were just there scrolling art and endlessly scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and there's so much great stuff from back then. So really, really cool. Really a treat to get to see that and make that connection back to, geez, at this point, 3 years ago almost. So cool to see your work over on Tezos, and kind of exciting to see art starting to move there again. Jared and I talked about this last week, but looking for that Tezos revival hopefully soon. Okay, what... Well, you know what? Let's get to issues. Let's get to your new collection called Issues. How do you guys want to tackle this? Do you want to explain what the collection is, maybe the meaning behind it, the process? Probably all of the above would be great.
I'm down to go in whatever direction you guys want. I like the casualness of this, and I feel like it lends itself to more laid back feelings. So yeah, I'm down to wherever you guys want to start.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll just
I'll kick
weave
it off.
in and out of it all. But yeah.
The Issues is really this. It's a double entendre onto the name, right? Like it's an issues. It's intended to be. So I'll take a step back. For those who aren't familiar, Views was Delta's first long form collection. So a lot of the things that you're referencing on Tezos and you just had up were either one of ones or editions, and these were pieces that people have collected on. He had a drop on Brain Drops, which is an AI focused platform called Views, and it was a huge success in my opinion, and I think Delta would agree with it. It sold out within 2 minutes. It was absolutely stunning work, and it kind of, in my opinion, opened up. It's where I had known of Delta before, but it's where I really fell in love with Delta, was all of the the outputs here. And we talk about this a lot. Like the protagonist here is the window, right? Like you're a passerby or as the collector, in the scenes that Delta has curated. And we started talking back before the release of Views, and he came up with this concept of issues. And I'll let Delta explain his whole vision for the ecosystem and community that he's creating. But Issues really is exactly that. It's intended to be a cover of a magazine, like an issue of periodical X or syndicate Y, whatever that is, right? but it's also a social commentary on the space, the Web3 space, Delta's life, where he thinks of the future. So it's he's really exploring a lot of the like issues that are at the forefront. Some of them are, really obvious. Like he has this period or a syndicate called Mimetic, where he leans into memes. And one of them has like the Hawk Tuah chick, right? Like, right. So I mean, some of it's like really, really obvious, but we'll get into this. But one of the things that I'm like enamored with about this collection is every single piece has a story. There's meaning behind it from for Delta, and then what's really cool is I'll steal a little bit of Delta's thunders. The metadata in this has dates, right? It has a month category and then a day category, and the intent of this is to help prompt the collector to be inspired. Now, there's stories behind every single one of the dates, but it's also something to collect around, right? Like, do you want to collect around your birthday, an anniversary, Christmas, like a holiday that's important to you, meaningful? Like, I don't know about you, but like when I loved collecting in general, but like I was collecting, like the Wizard comic books, or the periodicals, right? Like, uh, like each one would have a different, or like Nintendo Power, right? Like each one would have a different cover. It'd have, yeah, yes, this beautiful content and a beautiful story inside, but you could like really sit there and reflect on the cover and really enjoy it. But you could also go deeper, and that's what I love about the brilliance of Delta in this one is he's scaled it to have that level of engagement. Do you want to just enjoy the art and see it up front? Yes, and that's fine. Do you want to delve deeper into the content of and meaning and get a different level of fulfillment? You can do that, and I'll let Delta talk about it. But it's, to me, this is a progression of his art and in a meaningful fashion that really helps him expand like his universe, but also the thoughtfulness like we're pulling forward the thoughtfulness that he puts into every piece of art forward and allowing collectors to like really, really embrace it.
Yeah, Delta, I'd love to hear then. I guess how the collection even came to be from the inception to then the process of creating it, the tools you use, which I'm fascinated by, and I think a lot of us are eager to learn more about. But yeah, how did this collection even enter your brain to start, and how did you kind of foster it and then ultimately get it to the point it's at now?
So we're gonna go really far back because, like, in the early 2000s, I have fond memories of getting left in a magazine section while my parents would go grocery shopping. Like, they would, they didn't want to drag me around the store for hours to pick up groceries, so they'd be like, "Hey, just stay in this aisle, look at all these magazines, and we'll come back and get you." And it was a different time period back then. You wouldn't leave like a 7-year-old nowadays in the magazine section at a grocery store. So like it's very different nowadays, but like that's where this memory came from. And like also growing up, my dad would get a lot of interior design magazines because he had that carpentry background. So like we would look at different, forms of furniture and, get ideas of, hey, maybe we should do this kind of design, and like that's where my love of it came from. And it's also that love of comic books as well, because like there's that blurred line between magazine issue, like, magazine cover art and comic book cover art. So like that's where that deep dive and love came into. And I love researching topics. So like being able to, go to Tumblr or Pinterest and being like, 1980s magazine covers. And me and Jared have done deep dives on this. Like we've talked about this and like we've had discussions on like how do you per se, take all this other text that makes a magazine cover and just leave it with the title and maybe like maybe a date on some of them, because like we wanted to deconstruct like what it means to be a magazine cover. So like that's where we took the deep dive into it. And like it's just this love of like nostalgia and past memories. Like there's a lot of memories when it comes to magazines as a whole. And like a couple months ago, like one of my collectors a couple days ago was like, so that's why you asked what everyone's favorite magazine was, because I tweeted out like a few months back like, all right, so give me some ideas for magazines. What kind of magazines do you have in your country? Because I wanted to get some ideas when it comes to this collection. And a lot of people like gave me magazines I never even heard of. So I ended up going down a deep dive there. And I just like involving the community without them knowing. And then when someone picks up on that reference, they're like, oh, so that's why you posted that. So like I love working in the world of references, and like this was like the perfect kind of collection to do that.
So for every, I guess, different flavor of comic, each one there is a real life magazine, even if it's not in publication now. But there is something that it does. It is a play on, or it's going to resemble, or it was inspired by. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say it was more inspired by because when it comes to like the world magazines, I looked at like travel magazines like Nat Geo and like Southern Digest as well, and just got like the theming on that. And like as someone that did get to travel the world growing up, because I grew up in a trailer park, like that is one of the most heavily weighted of the traits is like that world magazine is because like I wanted to be able to explore places that I would have wanted to visit like growing up. So like I basically I looked at a lot of magazines to get inspired by and to pull like inspiration from, and like one of the magazines, Omni, is literally just a play on words because the magazine that I got inspired by when it comes to Omni was Omni magazine, which was a sci-fi magazine back in the 80s and early 90s. And I was also inspired by Byte magazine, which is another kind of sci-fi, computer technology magazine.
I love it. So maybe we can look at some of these outputs. You can help us, I think, break down the thought process behind creating it. Maybe we can get technical there too. I think there's probably a lot to explore there. So I'm going to pull up some that you sent me, which we peeked at a couple. I realized we're going to have some good conversations around it, so I didn't go much further into it. But man, these are pretty damn incredible. Starting with
Real quick, in Delta, I think it's today, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I really respect about Delta and the confidence he has in his craft is we're going to go through a couple outputs today, but he's going to post on his website all 500 pieces for this collection so you can peruse it in advance, right? And I say that because even though it's going to be a random mint, we really want the collectors to fall in love with the collection as a whole, not only individual pieces, but collection as a whole, right? We want you to have that experience of like almost your Delta in the grocery aisle perusing through the different magazines. We want you to like thumb through them and enjoy them and start to like think about the questions of what it is. So we're going to touch on a couple concepts here, but in a little bit, we really encourage people to hop onto the website and delve into the entire collection and start asking questions like why you'll see with this, like there's a lot of meaning behind a lot of it. So like we want you to like, what did you think here? What was the meaning? Why did you go with this instead of that style? I mean, you'll see each of the syndications. This one is MOTD, right? Each one has its distinct style, and it's in Delta. We'll get into it, but like that's what's we're really wanting to prompt the engagement.
And by the way, is this on DeltaSauce's website or is this on the 8nap site?
This is on the DeltaSauce website. We are still putting the final touches. It's not live right now, but like the goal is to be live at noon.
Oh,
CST.
love it.
So like, and I'll put out a tweet when it's live so people can go over there and then look at all the outputs and just go through it as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, great. I love the idea that the whole collection will be there to kind of browse through. Again, it does bring back those memories. It's similar, and I think probably everybody, I don't know how old you are, but I can speak for my generation. Same experience, going to the store, going to the magazine aisle while mom shops, right? And then me usually going to that comic rack, that little spiral thing, and spinning that around and shopping through comics, and it's a blast. And I bought so many of them just based on the cover. Probably never read them, like often never read them. It was literally there for the art, and it was always, that first impression, that the look and the feel of that cover that got me, when I could sit with that forever and just enjoy it. So I love that this is touching on a thing I think a lot of us relate to. So really looking forward to getting to see this collection as a whole. For now, some killer outputs to start with. Yeah, tell me about this one. And again, I'm probably not going to get most of the reference. Maybe I will, but like this one right off the bat, I'm not sure. MOTD.
MOTD, it stands for Memory of the Day, and I wanted to touch on a bit of my love for film as well as just life moments because, like, funnily enough, the date for this piece specifically is March 30th, 2003. And that's when I really got into baseball as a kid. Like I'm not in touch with baseball anymore, but like there was this love of baseball, and I think it was stirred when I, first watched The Sandlot. So like I wanted to touch on that, and I picked this date specifically because it was the start of the 2003 MLB season of that year. So like I picked that date because I just fell in love with baseball, during that year, and it's just like I get hyper fixated on different sports. Like this year, like I'm really interested in golf. Like I've started picking up on golf and watching golf in the background. So like I get these hyper fixation moments. So like this is just about that memory of me falling in love with baseball.
Unreal. Well, then I gotta, even on issue one, or the first output we're looking at, I have to start asking about the process, because I know that you are using AI. I believe it's Mid-Journey. I don't understand how you get here, because I've played with Mid-Journey. I don't get anything that resembles anything like this. Of course, it comes down to the prompts you use, but again, nothing I would even dare show publicly. Could you explain that process, what it's like to use Mid-Journey and get it to the point where it looks so fantastic like this?
So I would say it comes with a lot of practice, because like I've been doing this for so long. I got into Midjourney I think in early 2022, but like it's just playing around with different words. I think one of the hardest things when it comes to this collection as a whole was getting the titles, because like longer text outputs, like when you ask for like I want this set of words here for the title, it was very difficult because like it gave you gibberish. So like I had to condense the titles down to a way, because like I had different, I wanted to put memory of the day, but like I couldn't be able to get that output for the title. So I had to condense it down to a shorter format. And I feel like it works better for a magazine cover, like it's not this long, title like you would think of a book, but like it's more condensed down. And like for me, it was about getting that sort of output where it made sense, and then finding a style, I would say, that really represents, because like each magazine syndication is its own style. Like I wanted it to be where it's not like it's one conglomerate of like one style for the whole collection. It's like there are 8 different styles in this collection, and each style is meant to represent a specific syndication. And like I wanted it to be able to like Jared told me, like he wants these pieces to stand on their own. Like he want like these pieces need to be able to stand on their own as a one of one per se. Like if you were to like look at this in like a gallery, it could be on its own. Like that's the whole mindset when it comes to this, and like being able to prompt that kind of output. And like we were talking earlier, like I play around with so many different languages when it comes to prompting, just so that I can see the potential output, and just like play around and try to play with those words in the prompting.
Delta's being very humble, right? Like AI. I've had an appreciation for AI as a tool, but getting to know Delta and the process and other artists that I'm working with, I have a deeper appreciation for it. To me, the analogy here is like you can give me acrylic paint and a paintbrush and you're not going to get a Monet, right? Like it's just not going to happen. I don't have the skill set. It's the same tools, not the skill set to get the output. Delta's been phenomenal at the prompting and his ability. Like I led in with this, right? Like, and you're starting to hear it. Like, there's things that are intuitive to him that maybe aren't intuitive to you and I, and it comes out in his art. The other thing to talk about is like he did 500,000 outputs, so I can't even imagine the bill for Mid-Journey on this. But in all seriousness, like it was about, and it was an 8-month duration, like I talked about. So you're seeing 500 pieces that were either the top of the top for him, the most moving, emotional, the ones that he believed in the most. And it was about that constant refinement. I mean, for being a collector and also running the platform, to be able to like be a part of Delta's process and see like how he took prompts and the evolution of the outputs until its final stage. I mean, it's things that we'll probably never see like the public light. Maybe it will one day, but as a collector, you get to say, oh, this is dope art, right? But one of the things I want to like highlight is Delta's put a tremendous amount of effort to get, and it's not just like, hey, Mid-Journey here. He's got stable diffusion models, and then he goes in and hand touches everything. So the outputs you're seeing are highly curated. So yes, like AI helped prompt something, but really the final output is all about Delta's artistic touch and his interpretation of it. Like it's been an incredible journey to watch the amount of effort he puts into it and the amount of pride he takes in making sure like every detail is the way it should be, right?
Yeah, love that. I guess seeing how DeltaSauce works has given you a new appreciation both for AI artists, also the tools they're using, what they're capable of doing in the right hands.
I've always so you know, it's like you don't know what you don't know, or like you can say something, but then it's like you get another experience, and then you like have like even more conviction. I've always sustained that like AI was a tool for the digital artists to create, and I think that that's it's true. And what it's done is I we're getting deep, but like I believe we're on the cusp of a modern day renaissance. I think you can see the trend already happening with Instagram, right? People who may have been creative didn't have the outlet in their, back country community, or maybe they were shy and didn't go out to that open mic, right? And now you put your content out there and it embraces it. I think digital art's the same way. And from being early, like onto to X, not with my handle here, but like with my personal handle, it's like you can start to see the trends. And I believe digital art is going to be the wave of the future because everybody has access to it. And you could put there's so many success stories. Everybody from like Xcopy and Beeple. And Beeple did it for 13 years, was a pioneer in digital art, but nobody paid attention to it until the blockchain. I don't want to say until the blockchain, but I'm
To a
oversimplifying the
large
journey,
degree, I
right?
mean, there was a change.
But yeah, it gave it the platform for his art to excel. I see the same things with Delta, right? Like, and AI artists like Rope Renisto and his post photography, AI. What Delta's doing, like these are legitimate artists that have just embraced a modern tool, right? Like it's kind of like laughing at somebody when all you're used to doing, back in the 1600s is stone sculptures, and they bring over a canvas with acrylic. Like, who is this like silly painter, right? Like, but it's like at first they laughed at you, then they embrace you, right? And this to me is, I don't know anybody who can't look at Delta's work and just be like, that's dope, right? Like, and he plays into nostalgia, so it's like it's supposed to be emotional, and there's these emotional connections to his work. I mean, we can get into this piece, but I and that's what I think, that like, yes, it's AI as a tool, but more than that, his composition, his creativity, like all of that manifests itself in a fashion that's just like it's highly connective, and that's what art is, right? Like art's an emotional thing. You're supposed to go and feel it, whether you feel like joy and pride, or angst, or even like anger, like the performance art, right? Like I don't get it, but it's still art. I get it. And that's kind of where I am with this, is it's seeing it in a greater detail. Man, I have so much more respect, because it's just not as easy as asking, some sort of AI to produce something for you. Unless you're lucky like you and you get a bomb entry theme song on your first go.
Good old Suno. By the way, these all that so beautifully put, Jared. I mean, really, awesome insight, thoughts about kind of this whole movement, the space, AI in general. And I just wanted to mention, and then we can get onto this piece, and Delta, anything you want to add, but how incredible the cohesiveness across. I mean, I know this collection's 500-ish editions. Is it 512 or 500?
It's 500 pieces total.
Right, and then again, 500,000 or so outputs total. But again, seeing the variety in the pieces, but also it does feel like a collection. It is cohesive, super impressive. GG's there, man. Jeez. Yeah, anything you wanted to add, Delta, to anything Jared said there, or do you want to move right on to this?
No,
guy?
no, I definitely like agree with, like, I view AI as a tool wholly, and like I tell people, like, for me, like I'm coming from it in the way that I played with AI first, but then I want to level up my skill set, when it comes to being a digital artist. So like, AI led to me going into Photoshop and learning Photoshop more, and then also I did a little bit of animation and After Effects as well. And I'm teaching, I'm getting more motivated to explore other ways of elevating the AI side of the artwork. So like I want to go in and touch up everything. I want to go in and like learn all these other skill sets, because I find it fascinating, and it's important to seek out that knowledge and be open minded when it comes to artwork as a whole. I mean, like I don't want to just be an AI artist at the end of the day. I want to just be an artist, like, and I don't want to have labels or limits to what I do. If I want to go pick up a paintbrush and paint something, I'll go do that. If I want to go learn how to you know reacquire my skills for doing furniture. Like I talked to Jared about this a while back. Like I would love to make a piece of artwork and then recreate it in reality and recreate the furniture that's in the artwork, like generate the AI artwork and then create the furniture that's in the AI artwork by hand. I would love to be able to go that route and explore that. And I don't want to be like confined to just being, oh, DeltaSauce is just an AI artist. I just want to be an artist in general.
Yeah, that's an incredible idea. Again, using AI as the inspiration for something much more, something outside of AI. That's incredible to think about. Okay, let's talk this piece, because this piece I peeked at ahead of time before we went live, and it spoke to me. I'm a nerd, I'm a gamer, so recognize this one right away, man. What can you tell us about it? And then we could start maybe dialing into those. It's not an Easter egg, but the fact that these have so many recognizable things in each specific issue.
So when it comes to like Iconic as a magazine, I really want I wanted to play on the word icon, so icon is just like, for me, is just like a retro tech and gaming magazine, because and I played a lot with like the idea of like Mario and all these older games and like the history and lore when it comes to gaming, and like Fallout has always been a staple game for me. And it's a really deep love and fascination with the world. The TV show that just came out recently was fantastic. I loved it. It had such a good homage to the game, and like people that are outside the series could easily pick it up. So like I really wanted to represent Fallout with this, and this is Fallout 1 specifically. And like I wanted to play with the reference of Nuka-Cola. So like that's why the cola bottles named Icon is just like, I love playing with words, I love playing with ideas, and like I wanted to deep dive into this. And this piece specifically came out in September 30th, 1997, which was for a very first release date of the first Fallout game.
And that date, I think I heard this, either Jared mentioned, you did, maybe it was before, but the dates are traits that is part of the metadata on each piece.
Yes, each piece has a month, day, and year, and it is basically tying back to a date in history, or there are some future dates out there which are estimations by me of when events might happen. Like me playing a little bit of prediction, Nostradamus kind of, magazine issues, but like, yes, each day, each one has a month, date, and year as a trait.
I like the idea of future traits and the idea of predicting. I think we have to get a little more into that too, because that's interesting. Is there rarity in this collection, by the way?
Oh, there is so many forms of rarity. Okay. It's like, it's not just syndication rarity. There are, year rarity as well. There's also, there's defects. Like I was talking to you earlier, like some of these have defects. Like you'll see a crease down the middle of it, or you'll see like a green smudge on one of them. Like there are traits of defects as well. The majority won't have any defects, but there will be some that have defects, and some defects are going to be rarer than others. There's also, I'm going to tease a little bit, there's also some golden editions out there that are embossed, and those are on the rare side as well. Like I didn't want there to be like I didn't want there to be one trait that just makes it rare. I want people to look at like the traits as a whole, and then be able to pick the rare of the rare ones based on like the set number of traits that are considered rare. I want people to go down that avenue and like, oh, I really love the defects, I'm going to find the rarest defect one, I'm going to go pick that up. Or, oh, there's only, a set amount of embossed ones, I'm going to go pick up an embossed one. Or, there's only a set amount of meme ones. Like I want people to look at the collection and find out what resonates with them. And this ties back to the whole narrative of, you're the person that is, at the magazine stand, and you get to pick what you want and what you feel like resonates with you. And you can go in with that mindset of like, I'm going to go to a DeltaSauce's website, I'm going to look at the whole collection, I'm going to look at the collection as a whole, I'm going to pick ones that I really want and I hope to get during the blind mint phase. But if I don't get them, I am going to, look at secondary. And we also have another mechanic that I'm not going to announce yet. I'm going to let Jared, announce that whenever he wants to. We're not putting it out into the world, but like there is another mechanic that's involved. There's multiple mechanics involved. Like we've gone down such a rabbit hole, and I'm excited for this collection as a whole.
Man, you guys are getting really clever with this in the best way. And by the way, the defects thing, really, I love it. I love it because it shows the care that's put into this collection. The fact that is part of the experience of collecting magazines and comics. You got a missing staple, like you said, you got a page crease, you got it like the ink smudge. but they do add character to it. It's something I can remember specific comic books of mine that had those defects, and maybe I don't remember the book itself and even the story, but I remember these blemishes on them for some reason. It really made those books, kind of stand out in the collection for some reason. So again, it just shows the kind of the love and care that you've put into this.
Yeah, and Delta tapped on into it, right? Like there's these gold embossed versions, right? Like that we wanted some of the pieces to be even more special, and Delta will get into why they're special, at when it's right for him. But it's like, I don't know about you, but like when you'd go and it'd be like the annual edition or the weekly or the annual summary of this, and it had like the beautiful embossing, and you felt like that periodical was something special. We wanted to create that level of context within it, and then let's call a spade a spade. Like gold is universally recognized, right? Like there's a gold ape, there's a gold whatever, like gold, and then in a lot of cultures, gold is just revered as this like premium asset. So we wanted to like tie all these like themes across cultures into the art also. And speaking of the one that's on screen before Delta talks about that, like this is something that like I appreciate about it. Like this goes into a very minimalist aesthetic, right? Like the one on screen in particular almost reminds me of like a New Yorker cover, right? Like it's got that like super clean, bold, but yet like distinct, like sketch almost like. And Delta will tell you about what triism really is, but it's one of those things where it's like, the amount of attention in variety. Like I wish it would have all been like the world ones, because the world's my favorite. But then he shows me New Ethos, and I'm like, oh wait, no, I like that one. And then all of a sudden you'll see a piece like this pop up, and you're like, oh no, like I like the future ones. And it's awesome how he's been able to weave all of the art throughout these different periodicals in a very relatable fashion.
Delta, I have to ask, given the title of the collection, and I know it means a few things, the meaning, the overall issue you're presenting or maybe working through with this collection, was there something in mind?
I would say that I want, like, I always want people to remember what I consider. Sorry about my dog. I do apologize.
We are pet friendly here, man.
But
don't worry, I've had little ones like storm in on the recordings too, so very very welcoming community.
Yeah, this is not a professional kind of show, man. Bring the dog on.
Yeah, he's a Chihuahua, so he gets kind of antsy when there's someone walking by. So, but no, like the whole thing when it comes to like issues and views as a whole, like I'm a big fan of nostalgia. I'm a big fan of the past. I want people to look at it from the perspective of, hey, I'm going to slow down in life. I'm going to take in all of these magazine covers, and I'm just going to connect them to real life experiences, or like connect them to memories. And I want people to come at it with that perspective, because like when I'll compare it to my experience, like when I went to the museum in New York, like I got to see the Monets, and like it is awe-inspiring to go and see artwork on that caliber, and it feels like life slows down when you're in that moment. Like life comes to a halt, and it's just you and the artwork. Like, and I want people to experience my artwork in that manner. So like I love opening up these narratives to like old school magazines, and like no one collects magazines anymore. Like I haven't picked up a magazine in probably years, but like it's in this collection, like building it has inspired me. Maybe I should go collect some magazines, go get some graded magazines. And like I went to a comic convention the other day, and I was looking at all the comic books and how they were graded, and it's just like, man, I should start collecting again, like IRL, and just getting physicals. Like I love that component, like when it comes to building out these collections.
It's funny going to comic conventions, and it's been years for me, but when I did go, even to local stuff, it was usually older stuff I shop for. It was the nostalgia. It's such a powerful feel. It really is. So I love that you're capturing that here in so many ways. By the way, San Diego Comic-Con by chance?
No, sadly, that has been my dream goal to go to. I really need to hopefully go next year. Like I went to the local one in Dallas, and it was amazing. I got to see a lot of famous, celebrities there, and it was just a blast. Like I ended up spending more money than I should. I got a freaking prop Barbasol can from Jurassic Park.
Oh wow!
And it's a high quality, replicated prop. It is made of metal. It has all the it has a spring-loaded component where like the little thing pops up when you open it. I loved it. I spent way more money than I should, but like, oh, and I also got my first graded Pokemon card. I picked up a holographic Charizard. It's not the best grading, but I finally got a graded Pokemon card. So like
Wow.
having those experiences was a blast. I took my nieces and they loved it. So like it was a good experience overall.
So cool, man. Nothing beats collecting. There nothing beats, and again, picking up the stuff maybe from your childhood, but or from your heyday in collecting, just is so special. Just nothing beats it. Thoughts about this piece right here, by the way?
So this piece was inspired by a film, and the film is, I'm trying to get the metadata up. It's Big Fish. So like I don't know if you've seen that. I don't
One of
know.
my all-time favorite movies.
A lot of people like it wasn't that appreciated as a film when it first came out, but I think it aged really well. And for me, this was all about like trying to catch that big fish, the fish that's considered impossible. And it plays on my memory of like going fishing with my dad, because every Saturday we would go at like 3 a.m. in the morning to go fishing, and like we would take the fish and cook it because I'm from Florida, so like my hometown's Lakeland, and if that gives you any inclination, there are a lot of lakes there. So like we would go fishing all the time, and like it has that memory of me finally catching like a 10-pound black bass, and like compared to my little stature as like a 7-year-old, catching something that's like 1/7 your weight at the time, like that's always a joy. So like I have that memory, and like Triism was all about like trying new things and experience in life, and it was like inspired by like the how-to kind of graphics and like life wellness kind of magazines.
Incredible. You saying Big Fish just filled me with a certain kind of feel, by the way. So love it. And again, it's just there's going to be different pieces that resonate with so many different people for different reasons. Now this one's got me hooked, man. It's just so cool.
Nice pun, by the way.
And like I didn't even mean it, but it is what it is. It happened. By the way, grew up around Lakeland, Tampa area. So familiar with there.
Dude.
Yeah.
I didn't, dude. That's amazing to know. Like everyone want to ask where I grow up, and I'm like, oh, it's just between Tampa and Orlando, because like Lakeland's just this little town.
Yeah.
I actually got to go back there last year. In the first 13 years, like I haven't been to Florida in 13 years. That last year was my first time going back, and I visited my the trailer park, the trailer I grew up in. I took a photo of it, and it's changed so much, man. It's like that nostalgic feel of just going back to your hometown and seeing the actual location where you grew up, in the early 2000s for me. So like it was just a blast to go back there.
Yeah, changed in a good way, bad way.
It's decayed a lot. But again, it is a trailer, so you kind of assume that it's going to go downhill, because I think that trailer was like from the 1980s, if I remember correctly. So it's lived its life basically.
Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna have to connect more over that afterwards. But yeah, really, really interesting. All right, next piece. World.
World. It is the travel one, and this is the gold embossing. Like I wanted to sprinkle this in, and like this again, this is a representation of Florida, because like Cape Cod, it's called the Cape, and I wanted to touch on that thematic nature of it. And like I have to say, Jared was the one that pushed me for the gold embossing. He was like, man, this would be a cool tray, and I love that he did. And like I love that he pushed for this idea, because it's such a good idea when it comes to collectability as a whole. And like another thing that I find fascinating about this collection, especially working with AI, is like none of this text is done by me. None of this text is done post. The golden embossing is done post, but like the way that the font is, and like the way that the D is for world, like that half eclipse kind of moon kind of vibe, like that's all done with AI. Like the AI created that, and I went in and I just tweaked it with the gold embossing by hand. But like I love that there is this level of variance when it comes to the way that the font's presented, and like I'm really happy with that. And I just love that I was able to get the AI to spell out the word, and just give me random fonts, and I love that about this.
It's super cool looking. Now, I don't know if you want to spoil some of the metadata here, the date specifically, but at the very least, was this a memorable or kind of iconic shuttle launch?
I would say yes, it is. It was December 7th, 1991, and like that year represented a lot to me, because like I was at that age where I could understand like space exploration, and like because I was born in 94. So, oh, actually no, sorry, wrong date. This was 1999, and like I was born in '94, so this gave me like I was at that age where you get excited about like science and whatnot. And you're like you get nerd out. Like I was like getting into Star Wars at that age as well, and like space exploration was like a blast for me. So like no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, but like I just loved that I was able to touch on space travel, and I wish the United States was doing more of it. I wish that we were still funding it, and like I wish that we were still exploring other worlds because I feel like there's so much happening here on Earth, but like there's so much of the unknown out in space, and like I feel like we're missing a lot. We're missing out on a lot as a country by not forwarding our space exploration.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the itch regularly to get in that headspace, that exploration headspace. I threw on Interstellar a couple times this week. That's one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
But I put
I
that
have
on to get in that headspace, and man, it gets me there.
I have a hot take about Interstellar. I didn't think it was a good film. Like,
Interesting.
again, it was enjoyable from like the first, watching it one time, but like I didn't think it really was as good as people thought it was. I think it was kind of overhyped, but like again, that's kind of my hot take when it comes to films. Like I have quite a bit. Like I think the Avatar was overrated as well. I really do. Like I don't know.
Avatar, the James Cameron one?
Yes.
I'm with you there. I'm with you.
Because all right, the thing is, we're going on a little bit of a tangent, but the thing is, like when it comes to like movies like that, it's like the movie is like very tropish. It's like a story that's been told a billion times. It's just being told in space in a different setting and with blue people. And so like it's a story that we know. So it's just like when I go to a movie, I want to be presented with a new world that that you can build upon, that isn't just like this story that we've heard a billion times.
Yep. Yeah, great point. Okay, to be totally honest, I think it's the father-daughter thing that gets me in Interstellar the most. And in that movie, powerful. It gets me. It gets me every time. So to me, best of both worlds in that. I get my space stuff, but then I get the daughter thing, which always, it gets me. It gets me thinking about my girls. So that's probably why for that one.
I will say with Interstellar, like the storyline that I was most interested in is her getting stranded on that planet. Like what happens to civil like that?
Yeah.
Does that civilization thrive because she's literally left by herself on that planet with all that genetic material? So she could revive the human civilization, like in the human race, but like how does that operate? Like when I look at films, I look at that. Like Snowpiercer is one of my favorite films of all time, is because it has this world like where I'm like, okay, they're in a train and they're in a closed loop system. Aren't they going to run out of a resource soon? Like what's the first resource that they're going to run out of, like when it comes to like being in a closed loop system where they have no external factor of like feeding into the system? Like it's a perpetual motion train, and like they only have a limited amount of space, like and a limited amount of supply. They're going to run out of something soon. And the whole factor, and this is a little bit of spoilers, I'm sorry, but like them running out of parts first was like the first thing that made sense to me. Like they ran out of like parts, so they're using child labor to keep the train going. So
wow,
like
I've never seen Snowpiercer, by the
oh,
way.
I'm sorry. I
no,
apologize.
It's like I do not care about spoilers, first of all, but you actually got me wanting to see it. So
Yeah, dude, it is a really good film, and the TV show is just as good. The TV show is set before the film, or it's set in the TV show is so weird. It's set before, but I don't want to spoil it. But like, just watch it. Just like literally go down that rabbit hole. It's really
we're
good.
gonna have to do another show on movies too, I think now.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I love film, man.
I love it.
I could talk about film all day. So.
I love it. Okay, book it. We're doing another one. Okay, moving on, and I want to feel out the right time to start bringing in more about when the sale is going to happen and details on that. I know we touched on it too, and I'm going to fit this question in. You can address it now, or as we're going through some more outputs. But some of your previous collections, or let me back it up. Some of the artists that I enjoy collecting, they bring forward certain traits or certain techniques from previous collections, and they make an appearance going forward, right, in newer collections. And I told Jared I noticed that, like with Zancan's work. Does that apply here? Are there certain things you've learned from previous collections, and again, certain, I don't want to call them traits, but is there anything that's come from past collections into this collection? Well, and that could just be the approach, or
it's a lot of. When it comes to AI, it's iteration and learning new things every time you build a collection. Because I feel like if you're not learning something new with the tools that you're working with, you're doing something wrong. I feel like you have to, like, even if it's a small step forward, at least you're learning something with each iteration. And this one really taught me like how do I break the machine in a way that I could get cohesive levels of text. And like that was really me playing around with thousands of different permeations on how to ask for a specific title, and like learning that, going down that rabbit hole when it comes to the artwork, because like the text was really hard in this. Like I could have done the text post, but I really wanted to see if I could push the AI to do the text that I want while working on the piece itself, utilizing AI. So it was really about pushing it towards that kind of lineage when it comes to like, how do I ask for text? How do I get this cohesive level of text? And like, how do I break the machine? Like I was talking to you earlier, using different languages to kind of forward that idea of, hey, I need this text in this specific kind of font, or I need a gold text. Like I'm still learning the ropes when it comes to like embossing. I kind of wanted to lean on that like whole embossing before I do it in post. I didn't want to. It's not that I didn't want to do it in post. I wanted to see if I could get the output while I was working on it with the AI, and I couldn't. I could not. It was nearly impossible. I'm still trying to figure out a way that I could break the machine where it will give me text in a very specific color or texture. And
I
that's
wanted to double click on this real quick. I don't know if you picked up on it. He said tech or prompting in different languages.
Yes.
It's something that was like when he told me about what he was doing there and how like, and it modified the outputs because of like language and cultural like assumptions. So I just, again, it's one of those dynamics. It's one of his Delta's tools. It's these nuances to things that happen, but it just shows up in a meaningful fashion. So, but I mean, look at this.
They're I mean, man, they're incredible. I have to ask real quick. Getting colors, it sounded like is pretty difficult with the text. Is positioning of it as difficult?
No, I would say not now, because as of right now, you can do a lot of in painting with Midjourney, and it's not hard to, actually, you know what? Funnily enough, a lot of these older outputs when it comes to this collection, because like again, when you're working on a long format progression, you're going to see progression of not only my knowledge of the tool itself, but you're also going to see a progression of the updates that the tool gets along the way. And like that's another thing that you have to like take into perspective when you're working with these tools, is because like you'll have random updates. So like at first the text placement wasn't done by myself, but then I started working with in painting in Midjourney to put the text in the spot that I wanted to put it, because like I first had to teach myself, how do I force the machine to give me the text first? And then going in with in painting and like, how do I force the machine to put the text where I want it with in painting, while also still maintaining getting the text that I want? Because like in painting is very hit or miss when it comes to text. Like I would say 75% of the time I'll in paint a section. I'll say, hey, I want the text here. It won't give me any text.
Can you explain in painting?
In painting is basically
real quick. I have my phone's blown up. I have 2 meetings at the same time, so I
Okay.
had a hard stop at the hour.
You're good.
I
You're good.
will say keep going. I love the conversation. I'll miss you, Delta. You can give all the details on the release, but thank you,
Yeah.
as always, for having us in Delta. It was a pleasure to see you and Hudah nerd out on a different stuff than you and I nerd out on. So it's
Yeah.
awesome. Love you guys.
Thank you, Jared. man.
Thank you.
See ya.
But
Yeah,
no,
let's keep going if you got a little more time.
dude, I have all day, bro.
we
Like
go.
I could literally gush out all day.
Here
So
we
like
go.
when it comes to in painting, it's basically selecting a spot on the actual piece itself and changing that. You can prompt around that selected area. So like when it comes to Midjourney, you could do squares and rectangles, and you could do like that kind of in painting. But you can also select different like shapes and whatnot when you want to do in painting. So like going about it in that manner and just being able to say, hey, I want this section and I want you to put this text. But like I said earlier, like I would say 75% of the time I would select the area and like I wouldn't get anything. Like it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't give me any text. So like it's just that whole like mass kind of generation idea where you just got to keep pushing through until it gives you what you want. And then you can decide, hey, do I want to use it or not? So like that's the whole thing when it comes to in painting.
And that's via Midjourney, the in painting.
Yeah. In painting is a tool that they have. They've had it for a while now. It's just I've rarely used it because I come from the whole perspective of like I like to do things in post. But like when working on a large collection like this, it gets hard to do it in post without like having to extend the release date to a year out. Because like when you're working with a tool like this, I want to learn as much about the tool as I can, because like when I work on a smaller collection, that collection is going to be more me hands-on, being me like, going over with a fine knit brush and just going over it completely. So like that's why I try to break the tools as much as I can when it comes to like in painting and getting text.
Yeah, dude, super interesting. I clearly have to go explore Midjourney more. There's just you mentioned these features I didn't know existed.
Oh,
So
funnily enough, and this always happens when working on these largest collections. This happened with views. Views, when I released views, there was no in painting, but like a week later, after I was done with the collection, there was in painting, and it would have made views a lot
oh
more.
god,
It would have. I wouldn't say easier, but it would have given me more control over the outputs when it
yep,
comes to in painting with views. So like it happened again this time because like as soon as I got done with this collection, Midjourney 6.1 came out and has more fine tuning with text. So text is so much easier to generate in Midjourney than it was in the last, previous version. So like it happens every time I release a large
wow,
format collection. It's like if I do this again and I'm using Midjourney in the future, I expect it to happen again. So like it's funny, like because like you have all these troubles with the tools, and then you get finished with something, and the tools update, and like all those problems go away.
yep, yep. Oh man, it just shows how fast this stuff's growing, and honestly, and also how early these tools still are. I can't even fathom what they'll be like, 2, 3, 4 years out from now. I honestly can't fathom it.
No,
Any predictions like where you think these tools are going, like the way they'll change the things you can do with them?
my prediction is like, and I don't like to say it like this because like I look from the perspective of like these models are going to get more perfect. And as someone that is coming from it from the whole perspective of, hey, I want to get a crappy image, take it into Photoshop and fine tune it and add to it myself. I don't want a perfect image. So like these models are going to get perfect over time. And like I'm looking for the imperfections that I can go in and decide as an artist, hey, do I want to go paint over this section or do I want to leave in the imperfections? Like
Hmm.
I want that level of control and I don't want to get exactly what I asked for. So I feel like as time goes on, the models are going to get better. But they're also going to have more control over the outputs. Like Midjourney, I think and hopefully in the next update or so after 6.1, we're going to get ControlNet, which is going to change the whole ballpark on like what you can do with the outputs. And I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to be, exploring that avenue when it comes to the toolage. So like as the tools get better, I don't want to rely on the tools. I want to get better as an artist. That's why I look at like the whole perspective of, hey, I'm going to go learn how to use Photoshop. Hey, I'm going to go learn how to use After Effects. I know how to use Sony Vegas because I ran a YouTube channel a while back and like I haven't told anyone this. Like, no one knows my YouTube channel because, like, it's kind of embarrassing because I was a little kid.
Literally trying to find it right now.
Oh God,
No, I won't.
no. But like, I did a lot of editing in Sony Vegas. I did a lot of anime music video, kind of slicing stuff together. So like, there is that digital side to me that I want to explore these tools, and I don't want to rely on AI inherently. But the AI tools are just going to get better. Like, it's just going to progressively get better and better and better. And like the reason why I haven't touched AI, film or AI animation is because it wasn't at that standard where I wanted it to be. Because like when I'm looking at it from like the lens of like cinematography, I want a level of control where I can control the outputs and execute. I want to be able to execute the idea that's in my head when it comes to like the AI animation, AI film. So like I've been waiting for those tools to get better, to be honest.
Is it getting closer now?
I would say, I guess it is. It's getting a lot closer. And like, I've seen a lot of people do short films with AI and they do it in a tasteful manner. And they do it by not just having a continuous, like a one shot. Like a lot of the AI film nowadays, like people that are getting started do like what is known as like the one shot. So it's just one continuous shot. I want to see people take it and slice it together and create a movie, create a story out of it, and not just have a continuous shot that's going. So like once the tools get better and like you can have a cohesive level of, I would say, characters, like from scene to scene, like there is that cohesive level of like this character was in the beginning of the film, was in the middle, and in the end. I feel like once you go down that rabbit hole, I feel like it's going to be to the point where I want to play with it.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you do with it when that time comes. And man, it does feel like it's getting close. Dude, I just was cycling through and this popped up and I smiled instantly. Seeing that you're dropping like just some dank memes in this too. Yeah, why put memes in here? Is it just that
Okay,
they make you smile too?
well, they make me smile, but also as like a crypto native, they have so much influence on, how people operate around in the blockchain. They have people love dog with hat. Like that is like, and we all saw that big sale on Foundation with dog with
Yeah.
hat, like of the original like photo, and like they hold so much power and they bring us together. They build communities. I mean, Pepe is like a strong community. Like Book of Meme is another one. Like you have people, I would say it's really cult-like in nature. Like you see all these people like, coming together around one central meme that they fall in love with. And I love that kind of mentality and I want to be able to represent that. And for me, it's just like Memetic, like this the magazine syndication for this, Memetic is all about memes. Like, and it's the rarest of the syndications. It is my goal is to make sure that it is rare because once you start oversaturating the timeline with memes, they start losing power in my mind. Like they start losing that worship power when like it's oversaturated. Like so, like I wanted to make this trait really rare, and hopefully people I know there's going to be some people that collect around it. I know like Bats messaged me the other day and he saw one of my memetic pieces and he's like, I have to have this. Like no matter what, if I mint it, hopefully I mint it on primary, but if I get it during secondary or that other mechanic that's going to be a thing, like he has to have that one piece. And I love when people can connect and latch onto a piece that means so much to them.
What was the meme? Was it Pepe? I think I saw that conversation. I think it was a public one, but it was
the Pepe holding the tungsten cube, and it's a reference to the tungsten DAO, which is a group of collectors in the space as well. And like I wanted to touch on that. Like, and I love being able to incorporate so many references and then being able to use specific dates that line up with those references. And that's what I want people to take away from this collection. Like everything has intent. There is no like randomness when it comes to this collection. Like there is a deep reasoning why I did what I did. And like that's the thing that I feel like a lot of AI artists need to like really hone in on is intent and meaning. Because like if anyone can ask for a red dog, like you can ask for red dog in Midjourney, I can ask for red dog. What makes it special to you? Why did you do it? Like you have to have a reasoning behind things. Otherwise, I feel like personally it becomes a facade. You just made it because it looks nice. I don't want to make things because it looks nice. I want to make things with intent and meaning behind it because like that adds value. That adds narrative.
It looks like Bat's got some competition for that piece. Good stuff. Well, man, I like Bats. I'm rooting for both of you. I guess home team here, man, Hollywood. I'm rooting for you to get that one. But yeah, good luck to you both. Again, I love seeing this stuff. It really shows people. Just shows people your kind of time and dedication both to the art but also to the space, like understanding the space, understanding the memes and the narratives and the things that this kind of community's gone through together, and then you kind of immortalize it here in this collection. It's so cool, man. So cool. All right, this guy, explain this one.
This is the Throne of Black Rock, and I wanted to make reference to Black Rock as an institute and how they had their fingers in everything. And like funnily enough, like there's a trait here, and there are only 8 of these in the collection. If you go up like issues, there are only 8 of these with the title of issues.
Oh, okay. The collection name, yeah.
Yes. So there's only 8 of these in the entire collection, and each one is meant to each one I consider a title for that syndication. So like, this is the new Ethos one, and you can see the small text at the bottom as well. And like, I wanted to make sure that these are considered some of the rare ones. These are the cover pages for that specific syndication. So like I wanted to, build that out as well and have that as like a special edition, because like these are considered special editions, and I've sprinkled this collection with special editions, and those special editions are going to have a future utility. I haven't announced it yet. I haven't said what the future utility is, but like people that hold on to those will have one day I'm going to come out with something and give those people an opportunity. And like, I want people to know that as well. And like, I sprinkled in a lot of that because like, again, like I love rarity and I feel like that's needed. And like, I feel like the Black Rock Throne is like, a perfect reference because the new Ethos is all about finance. It's all about finance and crypto related themes. So like, I wanted to put that in because as we understand, BlackRock has control over so much of our finance. Like it is crazy how deep they have their fingers into everything, every aspect of our lives. And I wanted to just touch on that theme. And like the date for this piece is, I'm going to pop up the date real quick because I have the whole list of traits right now. It is the day that BlackRock IPO'd, which was October 1st, 1999.
Oh,
Like
wow.
everything has, a date that is involved with it that has a meaning. Like if you don't get the reference right away, you could go look up that date and do your own research, or you can reach out to me if you don't want to do that research. But like I wanted to be intentful with everything because I want that narrative. Like the greatest feeling for me as an artist is when people come to me and ask me questions, or want that, deeper discussion behind the artwork. And Web3 is a different beast in its entirety, because like I compare it to this, like when you buy something from, Sotheby's or Christie's, you don't get to talk to that artist. Rarely as a collector, you'll get to have the experience of, having a discussion with that artist. But like here in Web3, I could reach out to Grant Yoon and ask about his artwork. I could reach out to Dies with the Most Like and talk about his artwork. Like Brian Brinkman's another person I can reach out. Like you have access to these artists that you typically wouldn't in the traditional art world. So like that is what makes Web3 great, I feel, is because you have all this access and all, people to talk to and, open up about their artwork. And I love being able to do that. And I love pushing a narrative that allows people to do that.
I can tell you on the collector side how incredible it is. Like the fact that I get to speak to you now about your collection and your past works and just you as a person. And I look in the chat, Awful Eye, same story, same experience there. The same with WG. The fact that guys like you are so accessible. And I think genuinely, at least I sense, genuinely enjoy talking about it. I mean, and why wouldn't you? It's your craft. It's your love. You put your soul into this stuff, as artists typically do. It's a beautiful, like, symbiotic thing that's happening here in this space, and it is so special. And to your point before, you're not seeing that in the traditional art world. It's why probably most of us never collected traditional art, but we are here and we're collecting a lot of it. And it's why it feels just so obvious that this continues, but in a much bigger way, when others get to experience it like we have. So exciting times, man. Exciting times in the world of art here.
No,
Right.
and this one, Lit, is really punk counterculture music related, and I'm a big Daft Punk fan, so I had to include a Daft Punk piece. And like I wanted to have play on that whole theme of like Daft Punk is playing at my house, which is a song. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but like it's a song. And like I'm a big fan of electronic music, so like I had to just show my love for Daft Punk when it comes to it.
Oh, this one's wild. Oh, this one's so cool.
And also like for like the whole Lit theming, like it's a rare trait in and of itself. But like I wanted to play on like that, LSD kind of acid coloration when it comes to it, and also like gorillas, because I love the gorilla
Okay.
art style as well. So like I took a lot of inspiration from the world around me and like the things that I love as an artist and just love as a person. Because like once you're able to put things that you love into your artwork, into your collection, I think people take notice of your passion when it comes to like what you actually love and enjoy. And I like being able to sprinkle that into this collection and being able to like talk about it.
Man, incredible. Let me see. I think we got to all the outputs here that you shared with us. So thank you for that, by the way. I don't know. I could probably say I don't think I've seen any of these on the time, or a few of these I may have seen, but for the most part, I don't think I saw most of these already shared before.
Also, if you want to go to 347 real quick, I want to highlight another thing. Like,
Yeah. Boom. Oh, wait,
World-
hang on. Was that right?
374. Yeah. World is misspelled, and that's 100% on purpose. Like I kept that in there. The AI misspelled it. I kept it in there because, like, again, that's a defect. Like I want to highlight that kind of narrative. Like there might be some misspelling of words, there might be random gibberish text, and there might be scribbles like someone signed the magazine cover. I want those to be like looked at as well. Like everything has intent. Like everything, I looked at it like from that view of like, okay, how are graded comic books graded, how how some of the misprints for some of the older comic books are highly valued because they're so rare in nature. Like out of hundreds of thousands of prints, only a couple of them had misprints. So like I looked at it from that perspective as well for rarity. And like I didn't want to wait it like, okay, syndication rarity, that's the only thing that matters, everything else is just random, everything has intent, there's a rarity behind everything. So I wanted to put that in and to highlight that. And like people are I love how people, or I've seen it before, like they chirp on AI like, you couldn't even fix this in post. I'm like, yeah, I could fix this in post easily, but like I didn't want to. There's intent behind it.
Yep.
So like
It-
I want people to realize that when it comes to AI, like as the artist, I have control over that. I could look. You can even look at the fin of the F1 car. The spelling's correctly there. So like, yes, I could have fixed the top print, but like I decided to keep it in because I thought it was cool.
I'm glad you did. It brings so much more personality to it too. And again, the fact that you have to purposely do that, it's more of your personal touches now on this. Again, the fact that it's there still. So
Yeah.
I love the decision. I'm glad you did, man. Just an awesome collection. So let's get then to the sale. I think we maybe mentioned the date, but if not, let's reset that. When is issues coming? The mint we know is going to be on your website, so I'm going to put that on the screen. But any other details you want to share about that?
Well, the mint is actually going to be on the 8NAP website on August 8th. The whole collection as a whole, I am going to be sharing that, posting that whole collection on my website. There's going to be a landing page, and then you're going to be able to go to the landing page and then decide, hey, do I want to spoil this? I don't want to spoil it for people if they don't want it spoiled. If people want to spoil, I want to be able to let them decide. Like, hey, I'm going to click this. It's going to redirect me to another link which has all the artwork presented. So like, I wanted to give collectors and people the option if they want to spoil it or not. The release date is August 8th. We're still determining a time because you know how time zones work. I want to be able to let people from as many time zones as possible be able to mint it at the same time and not have people staying up till 1 a.m. having to drink a lot of coffee just to be up for the mint, because like I feel like I want to respect everyone's time when it comes to collection drops like this. So like we're still determining the time, but August 8th is the date we're dropping. I will be releasing more details as we come. And we're also having an IRL event in LA. We're having a pop-up in LA. We're going to be giving out ice cream. We have a actual newspaper stand. So like in the old days where you'd open up a machine, grab a newspaper,
Right.
like we are going to be giving out magazines through that experience. So like you can go up to it, open the machine, pull out a copy of like a magazine, and it's a magazine. It's full of 100 pieces, 100 cover issues from the collection, 100 of my favorites. So like it's an actual physical, and I'll be there to sign it. You can come get some ice cream. We can talk about the collection, and like I wanted people to have that experience because like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of younger people never interacted with one of those magazine machines. So like they're going to be able to come up, open it, pull out their own copy of this. It's really nice. It's lovely. I got to see photos of like the actual physical of it, and it's a magazine. You can open up and look through all 100 out of the 500 outputs that I picked personally, and I'll be there to sign it, like I said. And I just want people to have that experience and like
so cool
to have that topic and discussion when it comes to it.
I love that. There's been a few like NFT kind of books that people look at as like their coffee table books, right?
Yes, yes.
And this is now that. This is another great iteration of that. In fact, I think even cooler the fact that it is showing these NFTs that hopefully a lot of people here are going to get a chance to get into this collection. Oh my goodness, I love it. Now in LA, is that for VCon? Because I think those times are matching up.
We are, yes, it is around VCon time. We are going to have pop-up locations for this, for the machine, and then I'm going to be there with the ice cream truck, and we're going to have these pop-ups. We're going to release more details as we get closer to the date, but like it is around VCon. We're hoping to have a pop-up as close to VCon as possible, and like it's the perfect timing. And like I'm going to be on IRL Alpha as well, which is another podcast, and we're going to be talking about the collection as a whole. And like it's just, for me, it's giving people that experience that they might not have never had, and like having physicals to give out to people. And there's only going to be 200 of these available, so it's first come first serve. Okay. I'm gonna take a few home myself, so not exactly 200, but I have to keep a few for myself. But no, I am really excited about the experience. I hope a lot of people show up, and I get to meet a lot of people and a lot of collectors, and we get have this discussion about the artwork, and we can reminisce about like growing up and talking about our favorite magazine brands and having those fond memories. So I'm really excited for it. So August 8th is the day of the mint, and we'll be releasing that. And as for mint costs, I'll announce it here publicly. Like the mint cost is 0.10 ETH. Like we wanted to keep it on the affordable range. That's the same price that my Views collection last year went for. and we would just felt that was the right way of pricing it, because like again, I wanted to make it affordable and for people to have access to it.
Yeah, dude. Oh, excellent price point. I think you guys have been thoughtful throughout this collection. Both from the time and the care put into the collection. I love how you're releasing it. I love showing it off ahead of time if people choose to, go view those outputs, and then to cap it off with the price being like that. Just awesome job all around here. So, man, can't wait for this. I will certainly be trying to mint this. Next week. Holy cow, the 8th is in a week from today.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
It's a week from today. So, and that's one of the reasons why we also picked that we're going to put all these outputs on the website, because like it gives people a week to process and to go through and to maybe resonate with a few that they haven't seen before. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited for people to hopefully maybe share on the timeline which pieces they're resonating with and they hope to get.
And that's later today. The outputs will go live on the site?
Yes, we are. Me and my dev are working on it as we speak. We're just trying to make sure everything's, well thought out, and like just make sure the process is streamlined. And hopefully my website can. I don't know how many people are going to be rushing to my website to just check out the outputs. So hopefully my website doesn't go down. So
well, you might be me hitting F5 at least, around the time it goes live. So I'm gonna see if I can do it all on my own. But all right, guys, I'll put out a tweet here. Even before it goes live, I want to put out a tweet of DeltaSauce's website. Make sure to tag him so you can follow him on X, 8nap's website, all that stuff. Just get you your resources to get ready for this mint. Again, coming up a week from today. Can't wait. DeltaSauce, dude, you are an awesome human being. I can't thank you enough for coming on here and again, sharing your journey, sharing your art, just hanging. Like, again, I had a blast with you. And then, guys, bookmark this site. Again, I'll share this out, but follow DeltaSauce. It is Delta_sauce. That's over on X. I will drop the 8nap website. It is 8nap.art. And then Jared, who it's always a treat hanging out with the man every Thursday here, Jared_Pause, P-O-Z. Give him a follow over on X as well. Again, DeltaSauce, thank you, man. What a treat.
No, thank you. And again, like if you ever decide to hold a little podcast about like, talking about film or movies, like I'm down. I'll be here. Like I can talk movies all day. So.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. I think, that'll definitely happen. We've got another show that's just more casual on any topic. It's not even just Web3 stuff, NFT stuff. It's whatever we feel like. Conspiracy theories, aliens, whatever.
Dude, man.
So come on that show.
I need to hang out with more often, man, because like I love those topics.
Oh man, yeah, I think we're gonna have fun. Good stuff. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in like always. And I will be live this afternoon again, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. That is our little more wild show with the boys. It's my buddy Joe, who's gonna be out at VCon. I have a feeling if you're there, he may stop by and say hello. And then my brother Henry the Grape from the CyberKong. So 4:30 p.m. Eastern time right here on SlamX. I'll see you the guys there. Any final words, Mr. DeltaSauce?
No, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone who tuned in. I'm really excited about this collection drop, and I'm going to be posting a lot more information as we get closer to the date. And I am excited to see what people connect with, and I hope that this collection leads to a longer format discussion when it comes to artwork and intent and reasoning. So, like, again, thank you very much, and I appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, back at you, man. All right, guys, have a great rest of your morning, early afternoon. We'll see you in a bit. We'll see you.